And we tried to start Parliament 4 years ago. And we told them no. You're not going to do it here. We're not going to give our jobs up without a fight. And we sued them. We put in 64 lawsuits against the government. And they finally came to the table. And if you look today, our legislation in Canada says you cannot bring in a foreign seafarer if there's a Canadian seafarer unemployed. And that's what we wanted, and that's what they need to do in Australia. It's not hard. It's not rocket science. It's doing the right thing. Sitting down and talking to the workers that you're displacing and figuring it out. You would never go into a town and take everybody out of a factory and replace them with employed workers at $2 an hour. Somebody would pay for it. I've listened to the seafarers that came off of these ships. They went there fully expecting to get a paycheck so they could pay the mortgage, so they could feed their families, so they could look after their loved ones, their grandparents, look after their community. And that's being ripped out of them. That breaks your heart. It breaks my heart to watch it. I look at some of those guys. Those are young people that now have no future, no jobs, because some lazy son of a bitch in government decided he didn't want to go through the trouble to put in legislation to protect them. That's just wrong. And that government down there better wake up. They've got an election coming up soon. And I can tell you, the people of Australia are going to get the message. They're going to hear it. They're going to hear those workers. And nobody's going to put up with it. If you're in government right now, and you're listening to this, and I know some of you are, I'm going to be down there in a month. I'm actually going to get down there in a couple of weeks. And I would love to meet with you. And I'll be nice, and I'll be cordial. But I'm going to assist you on how to do the right thing. We're going to pull that little moral compass out of your ass and set it on your desk so that you can put Australian workers back to work in their own country.
Yes. Good on you, Jim. Fight back!
Thank you all very much for coming out here today. I know it's cold. I know it's been a long ride up in the buses and in the cars. But it's worth it. Because you are the first of a world movement. A movement that's going to stretch from corner to corner until governments do the right thing. And the government in Australia is right in our sights right now. They are our focus. The seafarers in Australia are our focus. We're going to do everything we can to make sure they go back to work in jobs that are rightfully theirs. BHP, nobody's got the right to give away those jobs. Those jobs are rightfully Australian workers. And on behalf of the SIU, and on behalf of the doctors' unions in Montreal, and the ILA, and I know the ILWU on the West Coast is rallying today. We have a rally in Toronto today. It's going to spread. And it's going to spread and spread. It's going to be like cancer. Only the cancer is us. We're going to control the disease. I'm going to cough on every doorknob in Australia until they all get the message that I'm spreading this disease. The disease is workers have rights. The disease is we have a right to work on our own ships and our own waters. Cabotage isn't something you have with bacon and eggs in the morning. It's a real world. It means domestic jobs. It means jobs for us, jobs for the Aussies, jobs for the Norwegians, jobs for the Brits, jobs for the Indians, jobs for the Filipinos, jobs for the Brazilians, jobs in their own country, in their own waters. And the IDF is coming behind all of these campaigns. And we got some muscle, brothers and sisters. We got 12 million workers across this world. And they are all focusing on Australia right now. So to the Australian seafarers, once again, we're with you. Never give up. The message is spreading, and you're going to win. And we're going to help you win.
Yes. Comrades, what a wonderful display of solidarity from our Canadian brothers and sisters. And I'd like to recognise we stand here on the land of the Aboriginal people today. Dispossessed land, people dispossessed from their land. And I stand here with Australian seafarers who have been dispossessed from their work and their right to work on the Australian coast. Also, we've got some friends here, and particularly Comrade Glenn Sterle, Labor Senator, who's a great friend of ours, travelled with us to Canada and is intimately familiar with the SIU and on great terms and a great champion of Australian shipping. And thanks for being here today, Glenn. So, comrades, the Canadians have just met the Australian High Commission, and they sent a message loud and clear that this struggle is an international struggle now, and seafarers the world over are uniting and standing up to fight for their rights to work in their own domestic industries. We're here in Canberra today to send that message to the politicians and send it to the Morrison government loud and clear, who are absolutely responsible for the sacking of these workers behind me, and in collaboration with BHP and BlueScope to remove them from jobs that they've done for 100 years around the Australian coast, carrying iron ore through world wars where 1 in 8 seafarers died on the coast. These jobs are our jobs. We are here to claim them. We are going to fight until the domestic trade in this country is carried by Australian seafarers. Long live the SIU, thanks for your solidarity. Long live the ILA, thanks for your solidarity. Long live the ILWU, thanks for your solidarity. Comrades, we're with you.
Glenn Sterle, do you want to say a few words?
Oh, absolutely, Michelle. Look, on behalf of just every Australian family, if we were to see an influx of foreign workers on our black highway rather than our blue highway, if we saw Australian truck drivers reefed out of their bunks in the middle of the night or out of their cabs and replaced with foreign seafarers, could you imagine the uproar that would come from the Australian community, and quite rightfully so. Why? So what is the difference between our seafarers? Out of sight, out of mind. Is that what they're thinking? This is a national disgrace. And BHP, who have the audacity to call themselves for the big Australians, while their CEO is raking in $11.5 million his own wage, while he sacrifices Australian jobs, the man, how he can show his face in Australia, let alone walk through here and grovel up to the government, the Morrison government and the ministers. I tell you what, I stand in solidarity with our Australian seafarers, Australian jobs, and it is ours, and we need to take that back, and whatever it takes, we have to do. Bring it back onto our
Sharon Bird, the member for Cunningham, has joined us as well. Thanks, Sharon.
Look, it's just an honour to be down here with all of these workers who are asking for one thing, the right to work. I mean, how hard is that? You've got your job, you're doing an important piece of the transport infrastructure for this nation, for our security as well as our supplies, and you get pulled out in the middle of the night and told you've no longer got a job. I've got the Port of Kembla in my electorate, and I know how important this is. We've got a long history of providing seafaring along our coast. We need Australian workers on Australian ships doing domestic trade. It's not difficult, and we've got to fix this and make sure you guys are getting back to work doing the things that you're so skilled at doing.
Thank you, Sharon. Stephen Jones, the member for Whitlam.
Hey, great to be back here with you again. Sorry under these circumstances. If you have a look up there, you'll see the Australian flag flying over the Australian Parliament. That's the blue ensign. And every opportunity our Prime Minister likes to wrap himself in that flag and say that he is a proud Australian. But when it comes to having the Australian flag, the red ensign, on the back of Australian ships, this guy goes missing. We want to see more red flags flying on the back of Australian ships carrying Australian workers. You know, a couple of weeks ago, this clown of a Prime Minister dedicated $6.5 million to recreating a voyage that never happened. We want to see him put the same sort of energy and the same sort of vigour into saving current Australian ships and current Australian workers, so that we can see our workers on our ships plying the trade between Australian ports. Too important to let go. Good on you guys.
Thank you.